Number 6. Raging Blow. Raging Blow is a trait you'll find in the top part of yellow, in the middle. And what it does is pretty straightforward. Whoever you're marking with your Mark of Grimbeorn, whenever you use a skill called Vicious Claws, it'll activate Raging Blow, which will give your mark target a damage buff of 15%. So melee, tactical, or ranged. Doesn't matter which class it is. Any class will receive a 15% damage boost from this. The duration is 12 seconds for this damage buff. And conveniently, Vicious Claws cooldown is 12 seconds. So this is possible to keep almost 100% uptime if you're active using the skill. And since this is free damage, you should always use this on a DPS, whoever you think is gonna do the most DPS benefiting the group. Like Boss 1 in AD is a good example. You want to put it on the Warden. The Warden will do a consistent 15% more damage on the boss and all their AoEs, hitting everything else. If you're looking for more burst damage, you would put it on a Hunter or a Champ. But for longer fights, I would always put it on the Warden. There might be times where you're going to have to mark your tank because of the tank needing extra heals. If you're marking, let's say, a guard, he might benefit a bit from the damage buff, but when marking a tank, I wouldn't really focus on this. I would just focus on heals and other support roles. But if you're able to keep this on a DPS, it's highly recommended because it's free damage. And who wouldn't want free damage? I'm just going to show this in action. I'll mark myself. The Mark of Grimbeorn is on me. And me using Vicious Claws will give me the buff. Vicious Rage. 12 seconds. I do 15% more damage. It'll fall off, and for a split second it will be gone, but I can reapply it. You're going to have near 100% uptime on this if you're active, and if you always use it off cooldown. Keep in mind that it costs 15 Wrath, so you need to manage your Wrath if you want to do this. But in any case, it's highly recommended that any Beorning makes usage of this. Number 7. Stampede. Stampede is another trait in yellow I want to mention. It's on the second row in yellow. You can put 5 points into it. Putting just 1 point will make it so that when you use Rush in bear form, it's fellowship wide. You can see right now in man form it's not fellowship wide, but if I switch to bear form, it applies to the fellowship within 40 meters. And putting more points into Stampede will take your rush up to a max of 20 seconds. Right now I have 14 seconds on mine. And there's also the option of having a swappy. Unimbued carving for rush duration, 10 seconds more. Which would take it up to 30 seconds max if you have it fully traded. But right now I have 24 seconds because I only have 2 points into Stampede. In any case, I think it's good for any Beorning to at least have 1 point into Stampede. Just to have the option of that fellowship-wide run speed duration, as that can be useful a lot of times. Number 8. Nature's Bond. Nature's Bond can be a really strong cooldown. You can get Nature's Bond at the bottom. It's a capstone skill in yellow. And to put it really simply, this is a toggle skill that you put on a target. Lasts for 20 seconds, but you can cancel it whenever you want. And there's a 2-minute cooldown. But basically, if I would have used Nature's Bond on this target, he would receive 70% of all heals that go to me. 70% would go to him instead. And I would only receive 30% of my incoming healing. Which means if I apply Nature's Bond on him and use Recuperate on myself, I'm gonna heal myself for 30% and 70% on him. This goes for any heal, so if I pop it on him right now, recuperate. You can see the numbers. 30% to me. I'm only getting like 3k ticks. He's getting 10k ticks. You can also cancel this whenever. Just click it again. He's running away. I scared him. I'm sorry. Come back. I'm sorry. And Nature's Bond also works from any incoming healing, not just yourself. As we can see from this Beorning, putting their Nature's Bond on this random champ. Right now he did it. And if I just solo target the Beorning and heal him, it'll heal him for 30% and 70% on this champ. So if you have a mini in your group, it can be potentially a really strong cooldown with all the heals that you're also receiving going to your, well, not all, but 70% of all your incoming healing. Giving your Nature's Bond target a lot of heal. But in any case, if I, for example, was to use Bellow, I would hit him and me. And let's say I heal myself for 70k, probably like 50k would go to him of my heals. It's pretty much a skill where you sacrifice your own incoming healing for boosting their healing by a lot. So when using this cooldown, you need to be really careful about your own health, because you're not getting as much heals as you normally would. So it's very important to keep an eye on your own health and maybe cancel it if you get really low. But this cooldown can potentially be really, really strong. Number 9. Unimbued LI Weapon. For the longest time, I was using a two-hander for my main LI. Because I thought, you know, two-hander, extra damage, why not? But recently, I've kind of found that just using an unimbued full-time gives you a lot of more benefit. Of course, you're going to do less damage. The most important thing is the Bee Swarm debuff duration, plus 6 seconds. The biggest advantage is that it's never going to fall off, as long as you just refresh it before the 18 seconds, which makes the 16-second cooldown on Armor Crush a good time to refresh. If you always refresh these together, they're never going to fall off, and you're not going to have that split second, which will turn into a lot of split seconds in a raid, where your full raid is not getting the benefit of your debuff. So in my opinion, you could of course use this as a swappy every time you apply bees. But in my opinion, it's just easier to just keep this as your main ally. You don't lose anything super important, and you can just focus on your own stuff. My advice would be to just use an unimbued with Bee Swarm duration. And number 10, Mark of Grimbeorn. Mark of Grimbeorn is a toggle skill that you unlock as your first set bonus in Yellow Line. This skill works kind of like your captain's telling mark or revealing mark. Just apply it to the target. Just applying it does nothing really except give you a little bit of wrath. But you can see some skills get altered when you put the mark. And these skills are your Grisly Cry, which makes everyone around your target feared instead of just your target. Your Piercing Roar, which debuffs your enemy's outgoing damage. So instead of 20%, it's going to be 40%. And finally, using Vicious Claws when he's marked will give the target a 5% miss chance. I just want to show these effects in action. If I put the target and I use the Grisly Cry here, everyone gets feared around my target, including my target. And let's try the other effect. We can try the Vicious Claws, which is gonna give the target miss chance. There it is, Vicious Claws, miss chance. 5% miss chance for 8 seconds. and apply it on the target. Minus 40% instead of 20. And there's one final thing, at least that I know of. Doesn't really say, but when you apply bees to your marked target, it'll damage everyone around him. So I apply bees. He's taking the damage, but everyone around also takes damage, so it becomes AoE. This mark should always be used on like your main target. For example, boss 1 in AD, you want to keep it on the kill beast. You want to make sure that you debuff his damage when he does the big attack thrash. And pretty much spam bees and armor crush. And your beast will deal some AoE, I guess, but it's nothing huge. But mainly, the Mark of Grimbeorn is for making your piercing roar doubled in effect, which can help decrease a lot of damage sometimes. That's gonna be it for this video. Leave a like, subscribe to my channel. Most importantly, join my Discord. There's giveaways, there's a lot of Lotro discussion and help. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.